Howdy, howdy. Welcome back to Aden's Archive. Today I'm going to be showing you how I made my 30 for 30 on Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron. I know we haven't been doing this series for a while. I've actually put out two more 30 for 30s on Snow White and Cats Don't Dance, and I will be covering them. I still have the timelines and everything just to prove it to you. Here's Snow White, and here's Cats Don't Dance. Anyway, with all that being said, let's go ahead and break down how I made this video. So as far as the opening is concerned, we have just several shots of me outside in early December weather. It's like 20 degrees, cold as shit. But this is fairly simple. It's just a bunch of shots connected together. Just a music track at -7 that kind of builds up in intensity. And then what you have here is an adjustment clip that starts out non-zoomed in, and then at the end is super zoomed in. If you're just zooming in like one clip, you don't necessarily need an adjustment clip. The thing that's useful for this is that I'm doing one continuous zoom over 6 or 7 clips. That would be a pain in the ass to try to keyframe all of these individually to match the movement. That's where an adjustment clip is way easier and way more handy. The shot was a pain in the ass to do because I couldn't see myself in frame. Knowing like when to stop, take the Santa off, and then replace it with Spirit took several different attempts because the stupid VHS case would fall off the tree so many times. It wouldn't stay put. I got lucky on this shot, thankfully. Then I have this shot that I took with my phone, as well as both of these. You can just do like screen recordings on your iPhone. You'll know that's what's going on here because this little bit up here is red. All right, so then some shots of me running. Just to save on time, what I did is I filmed this shot of me running, and then I ran back, and then just used both shots. So here's the running away shot, and then if we cut back here, here's the running back shot. They were recorded literally within 30 seconds of each other. So it saved me on having to reset up the camera and stuff. And then you'll probably notice here the song is like cut up into multiple different parts. That's just really for comedic effect. So here it's like, oh shit, epic running montage. Nope, I'm talking about my running routine. Okay, shit, epic running montage. No, now we're making a joke that I've only made it 2 minutes in. And then epic running montage. Oh, that's crazy. And then, oh, no, I'm tired. I'm going back in. This is just kind of a bait and switch. These jokes work fine as is with just the footage, but it's better if you can use something like music or sound effects to emphasize the punchline a little bit more. As far as this title sequence is concerned, it's mostly just a font, I believe Dr. Glitch, a triple glow effect that I made with the help of a Wampus tutorial, kind of a DaVinci Resolve YouTuber, and then just kind of tweak the settings to my liking. And then this one also has triple glow, and then a sort of wiggle node that I made that you can check out on Aiden's Archive if you want the steps for this. But all that's doing is when I hit play, you can see it's kind of moving back and forth. That's all that effect is. A lot of different cuts, as you can see here, just to sort of emphasize the joke of how many ways you can like mispronounce the title of the movie, Stallion of the Cimarron, the Cinnamon. So we're zooming in, full back, and then slow zoom in, full. It just sort of complements the manic energy, if you will. Now, here's something I've kind of picked up a little bit recently as far as putting music in videos. I'm coming to find more and more that the goal with YouTube videos like this is not to rely on one or two songs, but rather a song for every point in your video. And the way you know to switch songs is anytime there's a pause or you're changing your point. So you can kind of see here We get the title card, song number 1, Bamboo Shampoo. The gap here is for a joke. And then it plays and plays and plays until I've made my point about the title not being hard to pronounce. You get a stupid Apple Jacks Cinnamon clip. Bam, new track, right? That means that we only really use this for what? 24 seconds. We use this track all for a total of 24 seconds. But the point has been made. You don't have to use Bamboo Shampoo from the start of the track all the way to the end for like 4 minutes straight. It's going to feel a lot more slow paced and kind of boring to watch through, at least subconsciously, I feel like. Now we're on to a new track. And then this one ends when I'm done talking about the sort of history of the movie. And then I use this joke here where it's like, shit, bro, damn, we can't capitalize on Shrek's success. So now we have the joke here, no music, bam, next point. Now we have a different song. So you'll see here along audio 3, we got like what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 8 or 9 different songs for ultimately a 14-minute video. And most of you probably didn't notice watching it. Most of you weren't like, damn, that was so chaotic with the music choices. If you separate them by pauses or points that you make, it'll feel supernatural. Reference to the show Supernatural? No, it's two separate words there. I probably talked about this before, I'm pretty sure. But for all the music tracks that I have, I got this one set at minus 27. But really, all you're looking to do, if I unmute this, is you want it to sit around minus 30 on your audio meters. That's my goal. Anywhere from minus 30 to minus 40 is going to sound perfectly fine for background music in a video. If it's a type of thing where the music is the focus and there's no dialogue, like at all, you're just listening to music, then feel free to make it a little bit louder. And then if you want to take another step in making it kind of sound like it's in the background, there's 2 ways you can do it. One, you can go the method I showed earlier to make it sound like it's in another room. This is a very basic way to do it. You take a little EQ bead, you put it at 1K, bam, it sounds like it's in another room. It's not totally distracting. Or if you want to go a step beyond, I know not every editing software is going to have this option. But if we go click here on my little EQ thing, I built this little music EQ that is specifically designed to cut out any frequency that the voice sits in for my music tracks, so you don't be hearing them, which makes it to where the music and the dialogue kind of work together. Feel free to copy this if you want. I just got it off of a Mr. Justin Edits YouTube video. I watched him kind of make a very similar band and then just decided to use it. I've been using this in most recent Blue Couch Productions videos. This effect is just text, obviously. I found the Shrek font online. And then I believe, yeah, it has a wobble. So it's kind of just moving ever so slightly. Kind of gives life to them a little bit. And then if I decompose, all I'm doing is keyframing it to where it says BS until I say the word before Shrek, and then put another keyframe there. And then full screen for the Shrek Oscars footage, which I just think is funny that they did it this way. And then little animations here. You got one coming in the left, one to the right, and one in the center. But yeah, if you don't want to like do keyframing or buy like presets, the easiest way to do stupid little animations like this is just to like use a push transition, set it for 30 frames, and then click push right, left, up, and down. You're good to go, right? That's all you have to do. You can add motion blur, you can add border, you can add a feather. The push transition is very powerful. For these little bits right here, where it's like straight from the VHS and then there's a bit of commentary, the way I make these videos is I'll start by watching the movie and I'll literally record my entire reaction to it. So I'm recording the movie in OBS. I add in my microphone on a separate track. And then what I'll do is I'll make a timeline. And then this is obviously like a really cut up, messed up version of it. But you can see I have my commentary here and then the actual movie audio. And then what I'll do is I'll just sort of like cut up any bits that I need for B-roll, move it over to like track 3, and then it's just a simple, easy copy and paste. The color coding here is a bit all over the place, but the blue is just clips that I think might be useful, and the green are the ones that are cutaways, essentially. So like, this isn't being used as B-roll, this is just what you're watching. These are all green, and I kept that color coding, thankfully, on the actual review. I'm really happy with this section, so I want to talk about it really quick. What you have here is this like random video that DreamWorks put out talking about the animation of Spirit, which is like, hey, lit. And it's got this guy, James Baxter, who I'm reading a quote from. Quote is not directly from this video. The quote I found from the Wikipedia page. But I figured, hey, this would be a great background visual to show the quote. Because if we look at the actual on-camera footage, you can see me kind of looking off to the side and not directly at the camera. That's because I'm literally reading the quote. So I had to have a visual here, or else this would look awkward, right? So we have essentially how this effect works is we have the footage and then a Gaussian blur that happens super quickly before the first text of the quote pops up. Because it wasn't long enough, I had to take another clip from later in the video, but because this was already fully blurred, I just added that 400% blur with no keyframes because, we already did the movement here. We don't need to do it here. But the thing you probably care about is the text, right? Like, how did you do this number? First off, text plus, right? Don't use regular text, use text plus in DaVinci Resolve because you get access to things like shading and all the crazy ass effects that the regular text doesn't offer. So we have a white solid fill, which just fills in the text. That's enabled by default. The red outline, which you'll notice is black, it's just called red outline by default, but you can change the color here with the 0.4 thickness. And then black shadow, which is just a drop shadow. Makes it look a little bit nicer, I think. So that's all the visual stuff I did with the text. And then the reason that it's like animating like this, one word at a time, is keyframing, mostly. You have this little write-on thing down here, and basically how it works, right? The write-on starts at 0. So imagine that this point right here is 0, and this point right here is 100. Any point in between the beginning of the text and the end of the text, you can like keyframe to only show that part, right? So I keyframed it to where, okay, start on 0, end at 100, and then as I'm saying each word, add a little bit more in between. So watch here, right? Starts at 0, okay? I hit play. Here's a keyframe here. I say 2 words, add a keyframe to the end point. Now you're seeing the first 2. Hit play again. Keyframe still going. You watch it go. Here's a one at 3.83. I've said the next 2 words, right? There's the keyframe. Go here. I've said a couple more words. There's the keyframe. And then at the end of the sentence, you have the final keyframe that shows everything. We're at 1, right? We've started at 0 and we've made our way to 1, and we've stopped at multiple spots in between to show the words that I'm talking about. And then the final thing that makes this look good, I just added a very basic motion blur. Set the quality to 180, but that's kind of what that little blur is right here as each letter's kind of being written on. Just a very simple motion blur. It's part of the reason why this is lagging currently, because motion blur makes your timeline run slow. So don't like do this until the very, very end, right? And then you can render like a test clip of it to see if it looks good. And then you can just sort of leave it as is. That's sort of what I did. I tested everything out, rendered it, added the motion blur, and then left it alone. Here's a little Patrick Stirling YouTube overlay that I've probably showed off before. James Baxter animation reel, and then this little buffer bar. I have all the controls for that. I can set the time and what second it's on. So it looks like this is a screen recording, but it's not. It's just a little overlay you can throw on top of a clip to make it look like a YouTube video. And in this case, it was quicker to do that rather than filming my screen. And then this was probably the hardest bit in the video for me because, like, I'm not sure if you've noticed, but the entire point of this video is something along the lines of, hey, I know this looks like a basic horse movie, but no, there's actually like a lot of cool shit in here. And so the entire video is me like arguing to you to be like, hey, no, this movie actually has cool stuff in it and you should watch it. And in this part of the video, when I was recording, I said in this little clip here, like, you can understand conversations with no dialogue. Take a look at this scene. Can you spot what's going on? Which put a tremendous amount of pressure on me in editing to be like, all right, well, I better find a clip that you can completely understand without any context from the rest of the movie. And thankfully, I found one. Whether or not the video works for you, I think really comes down to this clip. The only thing I kind of regret a little bit is, and this is because of my decision to use VHS footage in all of these videos, it's a little hard to see that there's a camp over here. We can zoom in. Yeah, that's like a fire and there's smoke. And that's what Spirit is pointing out to his horse mom over here. It's like, hey, look over there, right? And that's probably something you could see fairly easily in a DVD or a Blu-ray. But in my really bad VHS quality, it kind of gets a little muddled in here, which could make it to where if you were watching this scene and didn't pay attention to the camp and the smoke here, you might be a little confused at why he's, so bent out of shape over essentially nothing. But that's why there's a camp there. So I wish in editing I put probably like an arrow here that's like, hey, this is the camp, or maybe brightened it up, or put like a little focus magnifier on it just so you see it. But that's it for next time, That's something just to keep in mind for future videos. What is this? Oh, yeah, where I'm like, this movie's just for kids. Fairly simple effect. You do like a basic camera shake. This one's made by Justin Edits, but there's one in DaVinci Resolve. You can do that, or in film emulation. I believe that might be a studio feature. But that makes it to where it looks like I'm angry because the camera's shaking. This is just a generator of a solid red color, again, to emphasize that I'm angry, with like a composite, just sort of linear burn overlay. Drop the opacity down a little bit so it doesn't look bad. And then the Doom OST, Rip and Tear. Makes me look hardcore. And then the rest is just outro stuff. Fairly simple, just a Discord call and a Gaussian blur in the same way that I did that James Baxter quote. You can see here, I made all of these just sort of one by one and then wrote in the text based off the subtitles. I made Zach's have a pink outline and mine a blue outline. The whole vibe here being that I'm essentially trying to create the aesthetic of a visual novel. I didn't have camera footage of me and Zach. We just recorded this in like literally 30 seconds. So I knew there had to be like an added visual here. So you have the sort of text at the bottom like a visual novel. You got the Danganronpa music. This one's just like a classroom theme. And then this one's the like punishment rocket, which I think is like an execution theme. I don't know anything about these damn games. Zach was playing it on Discord, so I thought it would be funny. So there you go. And then as you can see here, these are color coded differently. Any blue clip of either me or Zach are parts where there is no shake applied. So it's just standard PNG with the drop shadow, nothing important. And then the purple or orange sections are sections where I've used a simple shake plugin. You could use the basic DaVinci Resolve one. I use Whip Shake from the editor collection. I just try out a bunch of different presets. And they end up shaking anytime one of us talk. And so, to help make this easier on myself, I cut up the dialogue and separated it based on who was talking. So on audio one, you have all of my dialogue, and then on audio two, you have all of Zach's dialogue. So I was able to very easily match the clip to the dialogue because I could see visually when he starts talking, which took a little bit of extra work. It meant that I had to move things around slightly so the conversation flows a lot more naturally than it actually did, because Discord, there's naturally like delay and stuff there. But I think it worked out fairly well. Um, and then this is just a basic keyframe. It's at the top of the screen. Now it's in the middle. I recorded this on Google Calendar. It took like 5 seconds. And then that's pretty much it. Fairly simple thing to do. Didn't take too long. What, all in all, how long is this section? It's 40 seconds, right? For a whole video, I'll use snap captions, or for a short, but for something like this, yeah, fuck it. I'll make them by hand. Why not, right? Sometimes it's fun to do things the old-fashioned way. That's all I'm saying. But that's it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll be sure to put out more how I mades for the other 30 for 30s relatively soon. All right. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all next time.